to do. And now it looks like it's just now went into where we needed to be. Bless his everlasting name. Can you see it on the Zoom?
Yes, sir.
Is it allowing me to, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. You all that tuned into us early today when we went into our message and you saw that it was not given audio. My wife has been gracious. She does have a name, it's Andrina. My wife has been gracious enough to help me this time of the morning, 2:26 a.m., to go ahead and redo this. Yes, go ahead.
I want to make sure you can hear me.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
You can hear me through the Zoom.
Very, very well.
Okay.
She has been gracious enough to help me go through and repost this, and she didn't have to, and I'm glad she's here to be my audience. So what we're going to do is go back into what we talked about today. Now, we talked about, and I tried to show that one of the things that we have as a people, we have learned to think of the Passover as being a one-time deal. Please understand this. If you wonder why you keep talking about the Passover, because the Passover was very important. The Passover was a sanctification process where God Most High was setting apart his people from the people of Egypt, setting them apart from everybody else. He was getting ready to not only set them apart, but he's getting ready to give them an inheritance. Before he set up the Passover, he had already declared, and when he declares something, it's his decree that Israel was his son, his firstborn, and the father that owns everything is getting ready to give his sons an inheritance. So the Passover is setting them apart, those that are going to not just be his creation, but going to be his sons and going to mirror him in the earth, not just because they are made in his image, but going to mirror him because they hear his word, because they listen to his voice. They're going to be sons of Abraham. Abraham heard his voice. Abraham kept his charge. Abraham kept his commandments. And therefore, they became on a level that they are now spiritually his sons. I'm not saying they don't have humanity, but they are born from above. Now, when we talk about Passover, Passover was not when he gave them the covenant or gave them the commandments to rule the earth. Right now, he's setting them apart so that he can train them. So the Passover was a step in the process. Please go with me now. It's a step in the process. They haven't, Pharaoh's not even dead yet, but he's separated. Pharaoh is not dead yet, but he gave them plunder. Pharaoh is not dead yet. He separated them from death and going to bring them into life. Now, if we understand the Passover was a process, when you think about his son, the Messiah, he is a process for us, not because he's not just the Passover. He is actually going to be the cloud that go with us, or the person that was in the cloud going with us. He is the person that was inside of the tabernacle when they moved it around. Yes, the tabernacle was wrapped up, carried on shittim wood. The ark had coverings over it, etc., carried by the Kohathites. But the real issue was not only was he going to give them an inheritance, but the inheritance was already being occupied by the nations that had gone against him. If you don't understand that, if you don't understand before there was ever a Passover, if you don't understand that Egypt was there and that there were sons of Ham, there was other sons of Shem, there was sons of Japheth, and that the Most High had promised Abraham the whole world. It said, as far as you can see, it's yours. However, but when you get to the book of Romans, it shows that Abraham was heir of the world. So the Most High was sending his sons not only to execute righteousness, hear me, execute or to work righteousness in the earth, to bring peace in the earth, but there was also a peace between God and the nations. They did not want to hear him. They followed Nimrod, they followed the demons, and they built this tower to the sky, and so they were separated. So now we see what he's doing with them. He's going to bring them through, and he's going to put them in training. Now, please understand, we mentioned on Thursday, I believe it was, that there's times when people enroll, they get accepted to the school. That doesn't mean you graduated. That doesn't mean you know everything that you need to know. You just been accepted. You have to go to class. If it's a trade school, you have to go learn the trade. Some trades, it requires hands-on experience. You have certain thing called theory. You have something thing called practice. Then you go out and do it and become competent. The Most High God now has enrolled them in his school. I know you might not think of it that way, but he's training. And therefore, since now I put you in my school, I call it training wheels. I've already shown you that I'm worthy. I've already shown you the value of my school, that I am able to equip you to do all these things. Now, today, we're going to look at what is it like to be in the school. Please understand, I'm going to show what they went through, but it's imperative for us to see that we go through the same kind of process. If you don't see that, there are times you're going to be so angry at God Most High, you'd like to slap him in the mouth. You'd like to, and maybe you will disown him. You'll disregard his word. And often those are the very things that will cause you problems. And you'll start saying, I got a mental problem. Whereas the problem is you're angry with God Most High. And now you are vexed in your spirit because you didn't hear his word. Let's go ahead and share this screen. I'm glad that she's in here with me because she can make no, like, I don't understand that. I can be like, yes, go ahead, brother. Yeah, we in it. Now, if you look in the middle of my panel, I got this here for you so that you can see the sanctification of the Passover, the blood and stuff on the doorpost. Those that were behind that, they were set apart. That's what holy is, or that's what Kodesh is. New Testament, the word is hagios. We know the word holy. We know two words set apart. That set apart them from everybody, even the Egyptians. They got behind that blood. They were set apart. That's what you call the mixed multitude. It says the sanctification of the Passover was to prepare us for the humbling of ourselves to Yah God, to work justice in the earth. To work justice in the earth. The question is, how will we respond to his training to do his service? How will we respond? Let me make sure that we begin to understand what we're going to be talking about. I have notes that I already have prepared ahead of time so I don't forget. If you read my notes, you're not going to know everything I'm going to say, but you'll see where I'm going. So in Exodus chapter 13, verse number 17, we've already come out of Egypt. We, our family, have come out of Egypt. And look at what the Most High says.
And it came to pass.
Oh, she's reading for me. I love you. 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 You're mighty sweet. Go ahead and read it again.
When Pharaoh had let the people go, that Yah led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near.
Let me get that pause. It's my school. It's my training. And Moses, in saying this, is saying, Yahweh did this, but this was near. I'm not in control, but I can tell you what happened. But I'm showing you something. Paul says, whatever things were written aforetime was written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. How many times have we wanted God to answer something quickly because it's near? If you just let me do this, I'm getting there. He said he didn't do that, although it was near. Let Moses speak some more.
For Yah said, lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Egypt.
I led you another way that was near, but you're not ready to walk with me like you should walk. And if you see war, and if you see obstacles, these are the things that will make you want to turn around and run from me. But I got to train you. You've seen what I can do. You've seen what I've done to the people. You've seen what I've done to Egypt. You see how I control the weather. I control the animals. I destroyed their gods. You've seen this, but you still don't know me. You still know my power, but you haven't seen me in your life. You haven't seen my glory, and you don't have eyes yet to see or to understand or to perceive. He says, but if you see war, you might forget what I've just done. Bless God forever. Please read 18.
Verse 18. But Yah led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up harnessed out of the land of Egypt.
I want you to see this word. Now, I clicked on the word harness, and you all know I have great software by the blessing of the Most High. That word harness, the word is hamusim. That's the Hebrew word. But look at the sense of the word, lined for war. I don't know why ESV says that. Read it, ESV for Tim.
But Yah led the people around by the way of the wilderness toward the Red Sea. And the people of Israel went up out of the land of Egypt, equipped for battle.
Okay, so what Tim did is he brought an ESV so that when you read and you see that you need to read ESV for me as well, I got mine open. So all I got to do is click on it. Let me make both of them link together, because sometimes I might read something and you may say, what does ESV say? Because since we're doing this together, you might get a thought in the midst of it. So I'm going back to where I was. Now both of them are set. Go back to where I was. Let's see what they do we're going to do from the wilderness. Now that we see that they're lying for war, they're ready for battle, that actually buttress what I've been saying. They're not going to war because they just want to fight. The Most High God is using them to take his land from the nations that did not accept him. Let's read that, and we'll do it a little different than we did today in the daytime. Stay in ESV because I like the manuscript that they use on this. Deuteronomy 32:8. It's imperative that we see that, because if we don't see that, we might miss out on something that I want us to see. Deuteronomy 32:8, Precious. When you get it, go ahead and start reading.
When the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, when he divided mankind, he fixed the borders of the peoples according to the number of the sons of Yah.
He did that. Please read. Go ahead.
But Yahweh's portion is his people.
Now look at this. What she just read, when the Most High, El Elyon, gave the nations their what? He gave them an inheritance. And when he divided mankind, he did according to the sons of Yah, or the sons of God, your version will say. But what did it say? Whose portion? Who is it?
But Yahweh's portion is his people.
These are the descendants of those that would not go into the promised land. These are the people that would not do what they were supposed to do. And they wouldn't live like he wanted to live. They had some land, but he gave his portion to his people. Read 9 and 10, and let's move on back to where we were in Exodus.
You want me to KJV or ESV?
Stay with ESV.
Okay. But Yahweh's portion is his people.
His land. His portion is who?
Jacob or Yaakov.
Read on.
His allotted heritage, or his lot of his inheritance.
Read on.
He found him in a desert land and in the howling waste of the wilderness. He encircled him. He cared for him. He kept him as the apple of his eye.
Now they're in the school. Now that they're in the school, what he is doing, he is showing how he saw them. He saw them, they weren't ready. They weren't ready to rule. They weren't ready to lead. They weren't ready to do anything. They were just like little children, decrepit, losing. But he came. He found them. Did they go find him, or did he send Moses to them? So he found them like howling in the desert. We could go into more of that, but we're not. Let's go back to where we were, because I want you to see. You got something you want to say to me? Let's go back to what we want to see in Exodus 16:1. I want you to see. He said it's like he was howling in the wilderness. Let you see him howl. I want you to see them, how they acted. I want you to see the vantage point. Not only did he find Abram in Ur the Chaldees, how he carried him through the land, And then as he allowed them to come out of the land, here they are. And now we almost working and walking toward the time he's going to find them and marry them in the wilderness. Another picture he gives of that is in the book of Ezekiel chapter 16. And he's going to show you that just like somebody, a baby born that's not taken care of, but I'm going to grow you up. He used many pictures to show how I see my people. I'm showing you that you didn't build yourself up. You didn't give yourself an inheritance. I did that. Read 16:1, precious love.
They set out from Elam, and all the congregation of the people of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elam and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month, after they had departed from the land of Egypt.
Please understand what he's saying. This is about, you would figure if we're using a lunar calendar on the 75th day. We would say on the 60th, because they would have had the Passover and they would have left on the 15th day of the first month. And so this is the 15th day of the second. Give it 30, you can give it 30 days then. Give it 30 days, okay? This is not a long time. It's not a long time. Even with me thinking before I had to correct myself so adroitly, this is a month. And now look at what he's doing. He is taking them to school. He's already said, Moses already said in chapter 13, he said he took them the long way, or didn't take them the short way. And now he's telling you when it happened. That's all I want you to see. Read the next verse, precious. Number 2.
And the whole congregation of the people of Israel grumbled. They murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness.
Now you see these people been delivered. They're not in covenant yet, but they got a problem with the Most High ruling the way that he want to rule. They are murmuring. They got a problem, and now they are murmuring against Moses and Aaron. And what they're saying is what? What is it in verse 3? Let's let them talk with their own lips.
Would that we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Egypt.
Can we pause right there? Would to God we had just died and been dead in the land of our oppressors. Would to God that we could have just stayed on the oppressors and died than to be under God, Yahweh Most High school. We don't like his basic training. We don't like him leading us and to get ready to go to battle. We don't even know we're getting ready to go to battle. All we know is that he's leading us this way. We're supposed to follow him. We've already been expelled from Egypt. We got all this gold and stuff, but would to God, even with our riches, we are so distraught with what he's doing. We'd rather be dead. We'd rather commit suicide. Or at least we rather they had killed us. Read some more, precious.
Would that we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the meat pots and ate bread to the full. For you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
Girl, you better learn to be aware of people's narratives. You better be aware of these people's spin.
Yeah.
They went and said, this is why you brought us here, Moses. First, let me get you to understand one dadgum thing. Moses didn't lead you. Aaron didn't lead you out here to do a doggone thing, but to be obedient to the Most High word and to do what he said without compromise, without changing it. And the Most High is trying to humble you. He's trying to build you up. He's trying to teach you to listen to me. Do what I say. The way that I say do it. Get rid of your own thoughts. Get rid of your own mind. Hear my word. Do just like Abraham. Obey my charge. Keep my commandments, my statutes, and my ordinances. And don't tell me that he hadn't given them commandments, because the voice of the Lord is his command. And you complaining that Moses and Aaron did it, but it was me. They were my proxy. They are my priest to you. And you did that. Somebody said Aaron wasn't made a priest yet. He's serving in the function before it's decreed to him to do so, because they can come to the Most High God before you can. Read some more, precious. Oh, lastly, and you said, they came to destroy us. How many times when the Lord take us through something, we feel like he's coming to destroy us?
Oh,
I thought you were supposed to be saving me.
have
I thought you
mercy.
supposed to be doing that to our enemies. How dare you to give us hardships?
Mercy.
Let me tell you something. I said this earlier today when we was in the United States Army. They even made us take our drawers off and gave us new drawers, new socks, new shoes, new hats, new belt. Nothing that you have, we want you to have. We're training you because you really may have to go to war. We're training you so that you will hear our thoughts. We're training you. We're going to give you a weapon and we're going to take that weapon apart. We're going to have a little piece of cloth down there with every part of that weapon. And we're going to teach you how to put that weapon together. And we're going to tell you where everything go on that weapon. And then we're going to get you to do it a few times. Now you're going to have to be able to do it so fast. We're going to time you. We're going to train you when you get your weapon. You don't let your weapon lay around. You don't take your weapon and leave it somewhere where you go use the bathroom. You don't you keep your weapon with you at all times. We're training you. Do you want to get in trouble? We're training you to hear the voice of the sergeant. If the sergeant say get up at 3 and you just went to bed at 12, it doesn't matter. That's right, because in the morning, well, let's see, which one to go? The call reveille. You get up when the Most High God say, let's go out to the wilderness of sin, and you say, we don't like it. You're showing you're not humble. And the Most High will humble you if you're his son so that he can elevate you. Please read some more, precious love.
Exodus 16, verse 4. Then Yahweh said to Moses, behold, I am about to rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may test them whether they will walk in my law or not.
You see, when you don't understand that there was already law before it was written down, you have to understand when he wrote it down and gave them the law, that's what's going to be what it's called a suzerainty treaty. That means this is a treaty by a larger nation to a smaller nation, or to a greater king to a lesser king, or a greater king to another nation that don't have a king, that now I'm going to claim and control your country. But in exchange for that, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to provide that you have what you need. You don't have to worry about somebody coming to war with you. You are now my ally. But for that, for my protection and my provision, you're going to give me tribute, whether it's oil, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, whether it's your people serving me or all of them serving me. But for that, we enter into this treaty and we write it down, and it is one copy for you and one copy for me. And this is what is going to be called a marriage between these people. Well, the Most High God, he says to these people before he gives them this, I'm already doing this to you. You haven't agreed to it because I still run the earth. But now I'll give you the opportunity to be a special people above all the people of the earth. And I will let you rule with me in the earth. I'm going to let you execute my judgment to bring about justice and peace, because now I have separated you with the Passover. Now, when you say Christ is our Passover, that means for us to be separated to him, and we're to do the work of him. Just like the Passover sanctified, the Passover itself was sanctified because it was set apart on the 10th day to the 14th day. They looked, there was no spot, there was no blemish. It was able to be used at that particular purpose. It was sanctified, it was set apart. Now that blood, the life of that lamb on the doorpost, on the lintel, it sanctified you. Now when Christ said he is our sanctification, he says in John 17, he sanctified himself. And he asked the Father to sanctify them through thy truth, 17 and 17. Thy word is truth. I'm setting you apart. And now what do you got to do? Well, I could tell you a lot of things that he said, but just let me tell you when he got up from the cross, he says, go ye into all the world and teach all nations, teaching them to observe all things that I command you. Let them know that I come in with the treaty or what is necessary to have peace on the earth. The conditions of peace with me, the conditions of peace in the earth is you command them to do all that I have. You teach them to observe all that I command you to do. And lo, I am with you even to the end of the earth. What you going to say, Princess Love?
I was going to ask you
Mm-hmm.
to bring up the suzerainty treaty like if you can actually show the spelling, the meaning, and on Zoom, so we can understand that, because we kind of think that it was made with everyone, but in the previous week we've shown that he said he hasn't done that for any other people,
Keep talking.
and except Israel, except the children of Jacob. And so I was saying, if you're gonna show, if you can show what that actually means, and because there are certain things that happens in different cultures that we don't understand. That's our culture. That was given to us, and we don't get it in that way, and we don't get it that it was given to us to do these things in the earth as a proxy for the Most High. So I know I pointed out Psalm 147 last, is it last week or the week before last?
It was last week.
Okay, that these things were given to our nation, and so I know I'm sorry if it disrupts your teaching, but people can hear you say things, and if they don't see them, some of us won't go and look it up and to understand what's actually going on. So if you can show that,
Okay. What I'm doing is
the suzerain treaty.
I'm actually pulling up, see which one do I want to pull up on this. Let me see how this one looks, and if I don't like how it looks,
Okay.
at least okay. This is Egypt loses suzerainty over the coast. I don't know if I want that one.
If you just look up the word, if you just look up the word suzerainty,
let me make another share. Had I thought about doing it, I would have already had one set up that goes into it. Let me see here, and I'm going to share this Google page here. Suzerainty treaty. It's can you see my thing? Because I can make the print bigger. It says following the, I don't want the one from 1947. I don't want that. Here it is. A superior feudal lord to whom fealty or respect, who loyalty is due.
An overlord. You used that word.
Go ahead.
A dominant state controlling the foreign relations of a vassal state, but allowing it sovereign authority in its internal affairs.
Now, I want to, the best one that I have seen.
This says in the Bible. This says in the Bible what it means. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What I want to do is I want to go back and I want to click on my search bar and put in here Klein's, because the one that I liked the best, that really stuck out to me a long time ago, was the one by Meredith Klein. So so let me pull this up, because this when I first started learning, it's like, really?
It's not showing us all
I had it's not what?
Shared it yet.
No, okay, I'm glad you said that, because I actually thought that I was in it and I'm not in it yet. Let me search in Klein, KLINES. Now let's see if it comes up here. All right, now let me go back to my share screen, go back to Logos. Okay, let's see if we can deal with it here, because one time I had it pulled up and I had all the points of it, and I didn't do this time. Sanctions covenant. It says the fourth standard division of a new Eastern suzerainty treaty. Let's go to I want to go to the first part. Yeah, it threw me off a little bit, but I can deal.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The definition was good enough.
Yeah, but go ahead. Go ahead, Timothy.
I was just saying, if anybody wanted to look it up, they could look it up for themselves. But I wanted to get the meaning, actually the spelling of the word, and the understanding of the concept of it biblically, as you were talking about it. So,
okay. But I definitely.
That's what I was trying to do. I wasn't intending for you to, do a teaching on that, because
no, but what happens is sometimes some things are locked in my brain real easily.
Yes, sir.
That wasn't one of them, because I'm so used to knowing what it is myself. Let me just read this little bit here. The fourth standard of division in a new Eastern suzerainty treaty was the curses and the blessings, the woe, and the will sanctions of the covenant. In Deuteronomy, this section is found in chapters 27 through 30, while the 26th chapter, and 16 through 19 forms a conclusion of the stipulations. And what that does is saying, if you do this, I'll bless you in the treaty. If you don't do this, this is what I'll do to you. And when I finish, I can pull all of it up. But the suzerainty treaty is when somebody comes in and they make an agreement. And what I was showing earlier, that they had made a treaty like that in India. Let me show you. See, they still do things like that now. Let's go back to the suzerainty treaty. Click on his. See right here, it says the suzerainty treaty. You see some up here showing in Google, and it says, following the independence of India in 1947, a treaty was signed between Chogyal of Sikkim Palden, Thornop, Namgyal, and the Prime Minister of India. And then it says Jawaharlal Nehru, India, suzerainty over Kingdom of Sikkim in exchange for retaining its independence. So you may not like these things, but you see that there were elements of a Hittite suzerainty treaty between suzerainty treaty are seen in Deuteronomy. I'll do more on that. Probably I'll give it to you, if the Lord spares me, on Tuesday, because I'll go back to where I was. But the thing that I want you to see about the suzerainty treaty is the Most High is not doing something they were unfamiliar with. It is tantamount whenever he made this covenant with Abraham. When he made the covenant with Abraham, Abraham was already used to what a covenant meant in their culture, in their time, and by him knowing what that was, this is what the awe of it was to him, that he's going to make a treaty with me. And so when he says what he says back in here, you want to kill the whole assembly, and you can go back to 16:4 wherever you were. I think we had moved to 16:4.
16, Exodus 16, verse 4.
Or were you at 3?
I was at 4.
She was at 4. And
Yeah,
so
because
when
I
they
said
say
that
you brought this
earlier.
assembly out to kill, before he makes the treaty with them, he's already showed you, I'm overlord.
So you want me to read 3 again?
You don't have to. I'm just going to recap it in brief.
Okay.
That I'm the overlord over you already, but we're not in treaty. You just doing what I say because I'm God. But I want to elevate you. But in order to elevate you, you can't be my servant. You can't serve for me as priests or kings. You cannot do that until you know my way. You got to hear the word of my mouth. Not only do you have to hear the word of my mouth, you got to follow me. When you do that, you're going to be equipped to be ready for battle, to execute my judgment and peace, or justice and peace in the earth. Go to verse 4, precious love.
Then Yahweh said to Moses, behold, I am about to rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may test them whether they will walk in my law or not.
Notice what he just said. I'm going to test you to see if you're going to do what I say or not. If you're going to qualify to stay in my school. Somebody might say, well, he saved them, they already qualified. Then you're going to get rid of that thought when you go to Numbers chapter 13 and 14, when he tells them they're not going to enter the promised land. They're not going to enter into the land of their inheritance. In actuality, you're going to be disinherited because you don't do what I tell you. So now what he says, you complain against Moses, you complain against Aaron, you'd rather be dead than to do what I say. What I'm going to do, Moses, tell him I'm going to rain bread from heaven. I'm going to show you that you're not dependent on Egypt. I'm going to show you the bread that you made in Egypt, the fish that you got in Egypt. All of that was because of me. But I'm going to show you without the Nile River. I'm going to show you without you growing anything. I can give you bread from heaven. I'm going to show you I can give you meat to eat. But if you hadn't gone through school with me, you wouldn't know this yet. You thought you knew me. You don't know me yet. I got to teach you discipline. You can't be my soldier without disciplinary actions. Read, precious.
And on the 6th day, when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather daily.
I'm going to do things differently, and you're going to have to do it the way that I do. One day, 5 times, back to back to back. I'm going to give you enough for one day. But on the 6th day, I'm going to give you double. And when I do these things on the 7th day, I'm not going to give you anything. But I need to see that you're going to walk in my way. And no, I can change things the way that I want to change. I don't have to do it your way. I could have gave it to you all in one day. But I need you to understand you're going to be dependent upon me in my law, in my army. I'm going to give you what you need to understand that the power is not of you to provide for yourself. The power is not of you to sustain yourself, but it is of me. Read some more, Precious.
So Moshe and Aaron said to all the people of Israel, at evening you shall know that it was Yahweh who brought you out of the land of Egypt.
Let's get this thing really clear, Andrina. It's not me and Aaron that brought you out. And I'm not going to try to take their glory. You want to be mad at somebody? Be mad at him. Read.
And in the morning you shall see the glory of Yahweh.
This is the problem. If you were already seeing it, why you got to see it? You're not seeing the glory. You're seeing actions. You're seeing signs. You're seeing wonders. And you're getting used to seeing them, but you hadn't seen the glory of the Most High. Read.
Because he has heard your grumbling against Yahweh. For what are we that you grumble against us?
See, here's the problem, Andrina. Yahweh hear your murmurings. He hears your complaining. You don't like the way he does it. You think he's not smart enough to know how to lead people. You think he's not smart enough to teach you the best way to be empowered to do his will. You think he has a goal that is set for you to do, and he don't know how to train you to get there. You got a better way in your mind. He heard your murmurings. And like I told him today, he heard mine, even if it didn't come out of my mouth. He knows my thoughts, just like he knew Simon's thoughts. When Simon was talking about this woman washing Jesus' feet with her hair, she was a sinner. He heard the thoughts. He sees our actions. And he says, your murmurings are against Yahweh. You talking, look, I know some black guys, okay? You really don't want to say a whole lot to them. If they tell you keep my name out of your mouth, if they tell you to shut up, you said too much. Some of them will hurt you. I'm not saying they're righteous. How much more when God Almighty and you need his breath to breathe and you're going to murmur against him? And should you think that shows that you're intelligent? You're not. Read verse 8.
And Moses said, when Yahweh gives you in the evening meat to eat, and in the morning bread to the full, because Yahweh has heard your grumbling that you grumble against him, what are we? Your grumbling is not against us, but against Yahweh.
You see, the thing is, that's a form of warfare. You are warring against his will. You are warring against his way. You think your counsel is better than his. That is an affront to him. You are showing him that he's not qualified in your mind to order you and to correct you and to humble you, to build you up. Your murmuring is against him, as if you picked the wrong one. You should have picked somebody else. I didn't ask for all of this. I didn't sign up for it. And you don't have the right to make me. Read, please.
Then Moses said to Aaron, say to the children of the whole congregation of the people of Israel, come near before Yahweh, for he has heard your grumbling.
Look, I didn't tell it. I didn't have to tell it. He heard your mouth. Read.
And as soon as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the people of Israel, they looked towards the wilderness, and behold, the glory of Yahweh appeared in the cloud.
Now you're going to get the opportunity to see Yahweh's glory in the cloud. That means something, you all. Because if his glory is in the cloud, who do you think is in the cloud? But you don't see him. Please read.
And Yahweh said to Moses, I have heard the grumbling of the people of Israel. Say to them, at twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread. Then you shall know that I am Yahweh, your Elohim.
I'm glad I realized that you were back at ESV, whatever you said, Twilight. I said, okay, she back at ESV.
Oh,
I'm good. I'm good. It says, I heard, and she
I
said,
can
you're
read
grumbling.
that. I can read it.
And the people, I want to hit this.
Okay.
Twilight is between the evenings, you all. That's what twilight is. It's between the evenings. You're going to eat what, Andrina? Meat.
Eat flesh.
Uh-huh.
Let's eat KJV. And at even you shall eat flesh. And in the morning you shall be filled with bread. And you shall know that I am Yahweh your Elohim.
Please read.
And it came to pass that at even the quails came up
Mm-hmm.
and covered the camp. And in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew,
The host, the camp, the army. I know it says because the way they use the word is menhe, which is a civilian camp. But please understand, these men are being raised to be an army, okay? And it says the dew was like a what kind of dew did it look like? The dew lay on the ground at the end of verse 13, like a what? It'll give it to you. Then keep going, keep going, keep going. I ain't got to it yet.
and it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And in the morning the dew lay round about the host, or around the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground.
That's what I was thinking. See, that's the problem I have sometimes when I read the Bible. So, am I reading it or do I remember? Is that what sometimes I'll mess up words? So Yah has brought quail up. He didn't have to go raise it. They didn't have to grow it up. They didn't have to feed it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to go and gather something and make bread. Yahweh did this. But I'm training you. Had I not brought you this way, you might feel he can do all of these things, but now experientially, in the time when you're in despair, experientially, when the time you don't know what he's doing and it looks like he's going against you, he's showing you through those times, I can show you more about me. I can show you stuff about me that you can appreciate. But if you don't appreciate who I am and the way that I do things, you might as well be God and not the Most High. Please read.
Verse 15. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is a manna. For they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which Yahweh hath given you to eat. This is the thing which Yahweh hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents.
Get enough for everybody to eat. An omer for every man. If you got more than one, you'll gather more. If you got less, in other words, everybody. You said he brought the whole assembly to die out here in the wilderness. And I'm showing you I'm going to supply for every man in the wilderness. All of the bread, all of the meat, I'm supplying. You lied on me. You accused me falsely. And truly, you have condemned me as an unworthy God. And my servants is being unworthy with me. Read 17.
And the children of Israel did so, and gathered, some more, some less. And when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating.
Now yet the Most High has been accused of not caring. The Most High has been accused of not looking out for them. He's been accused of bringing them out there to die. And here it is, I'm providing for every, you're talking about over 1 million people, they say. He's provided for every man, meat and bread. Not the way you wanted him to, but it's not your agenda. They were drafted to be in his service. They were born into his family so that they can have an inheritance. And now here's your chance to prove yourself worthy of getting the birthright. And you say, I don't want it. I should. Yes, I do your works. But if you can't judge me right, you're not ready to judge your families or the nations. Read, please.
Verse 19. And Moses said, let no man leave it until the morning.
Again, he's giving an order. He's giving a directive. It might seem like it doesn't make sense, but it's not your school. It's not your world. It's not your agenda. It's not you trying to come in the world and set up what you want. He knows what it takes to rule this world and to execute judgment on the earth, justice and peace. He knows that there are demons in the world. He knows there are spiritual entities in this world that can get in your mind, that they can show you something that's magical or that it can show you something supernatural. But I need to train you that no matter what you feel or see, that the word should be working mightily in you. The word should be guiding you. Therefore, you won't be caught by some kind of wind or doctrine or the spirits that speak expressly. It says that they're going to have demons teaching in the latter days, and you won't buckle if you learn to trust his agenda. Other than that, he tell you don't leave anything till the morning. Like, I got to prepare for myself because anything can happen. You see, ain't nothing dependable here. There's by design. Please read.
Verse 19. And Moses said, let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearken not.
You see, this is what happens when we don't trust him. When you don't trust him, but you trust the stuff he gives you. If the stuff is ever taken away, you'll never be able to be like Job. Job's stuff was taken away, and he says, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. In order for Israel to get like that, when they've been serving other gods, when they've been under the oppression to jump when somebody else say jump for their benefit, for their pleasure, they got to get the old out of their mind. Here's the way I want you to see it, Andrina. You've done that for your oppressor. And he was cruel. I need to get you out of Egypt in your mind. I got you out of the land. I got you from under your oppressor's rule. But your mind is still there. Your heart is still there. And you feel that they're the ones that protected you when you were doing all of the work. That's what it means when you say, would to God we had died in Egypt instead of being here. We'd rather be back there. Go ahead with 20.
Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses. But some of them left of it until the morning. And it bred worms and stank. And Moses was wroth with them.
You see, when you don't do what the Most High says, look at this illustration of what you look like to him. You think you are a pleasing sacrifice to him? You think you're a sweet smelling savor? You stink. They left words, and as you were talking to me on the way back home, you were showing that you know what the Most High did. The Most High accelerated the time stuff would rot. Stuff don't usually rot in one day. It wasn't even a full day from that. It rot. You left it, and it had worms, and it stank. And Moses was mad with them. Why would Moses be angry with them? One of the reasons he would be angry with them is because I've seen God. I know he's not one to play with. I saw what he did to Egypt. I saw how Pharaoh's heart was hardened because he wouldn't obey. And here you all are with no home, no country, nobody coming that can deliver you from Yah, and you're playing with him. You're not listening to him. And so it stank, just like we stank before the Most High when we don't do what he says. And he says in 21, and they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun waxed or turned hot, it melted. And it came to pass on the 6th day that they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. So we've gone through the process of the first day where you gathered and you still took some and left it to the next day. You couldn't obey that simple order. Now he's giving you another simple order. On the sixth day, gather twice as much, two for each man, two almost for each man. And it says, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses, verse 23. And he said unto them, this is that which Yahweh have said, tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto Yahweh. Bake that which you will bake today, and seethe that or boil that you will seethe, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to keep until the morning. Verse 24.
And they laid it up till the morning, as Moses bade, and it did not stink.
I'm in control. Every little dot, every little tittle, every little jot, tittle, every command that I give, I'm showing you I'm in control. I know what's going to happen before it happens. I tell you how to do it because I got to train you. If I tell you to go to the left, I need you to go to the left without questioning me. To the right, go to the right. If I say eat of it today and get rid of it, I'm teaching you discipline. Every son that he takes, he disciplines him. Are you going to rule yourself? Or are you going to be my enemy and fight against me for the position of rulership? Read the next one, please. 25.
I have to finish 24.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Neither was there any worm therein.
Do you see that? There's punishment in doing things against his will. You know, like how sometimes we will fornicate instead of get married, and then you end up many times having a child that you're not that doesn't have a father that lives with him, or you end up this person leaving, you got somebody else in your life, or just whatever thing can happen is because I gave you a directive the way to do it, and we decide I don't have to do it that way. We can call everybody family because under the Carter administration they redefined family for Americans, but not for the Most High. Please read.
And Moses said, eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto Yahweh. Today ye shall not find it in the field.
Mm-hmm.
6 days ye shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none.
Okay, go to ESV 27. Mm-hmm.
And on the seventh day, some of the people went out to gather, but they found none.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahweh said to Moses, how long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws?
How long? How long will you ignore my words and act like I was giving suggestions? How long will you do things your way? How long will you rebel and refuse to keep my word? And I have separated you. I have separated you to myself. Do you understand? I've given you the greatest opportunity in the world, and you have decided that it means nothing to you. How long? How long will you do that? After you've seen what I've done to the Egyptians. Read, please.
See. Yahweh has given you the Sabbath. Therefore, on the sixth day, he gives you bread for 2 days. Remain each of you in his place. Let no one go out of his place on the seventh day. So the people rested. On the seventh day.
You know what was really, really sad about that? He told them not to leave any. They left it. He told them when there be anything out there on the sixth day, you went out there anyway. Then he told you one day you kept it and it got worms. Then another time you got double and it didn't. Then the next time you determined we're going to do it our way and go out there and look for it. And so I can't even give you little rules. You act like if I go ahead and say something the next day, I'm protecting myself. You act like if I go and get more, I'm gonna protect myself. You act like if you go out there the next day, I'm gonna be able to get ahead. And it's like, no, I need strict discipline. Please read the next verse, Andrea. This is something. Verse 31.
Verse 31. Now the
Yes.
house of Israel called its name manna. It was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey.
In the middle panel, I have a picture of coriander seed. What it looks like. Looks like hummus. Gary said it looks like Cocoa Puffs. But they have some smaller coriander seeds. You can buy it and use it in your house for seasoning. But here's a coriander seed. And that's what it looked like. So Yahweh is giving them this to eat every day from heaven and gave them quail to eat, but he still could not get the proper response from the people. Read 32, Precious.
And Moses said, this is what Yahweh has commanded, that an omer of it be kept throughout your generations, so that they may see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt.
Now, I want you to see how Yahweh was using it to train his people. We're going to see that in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 2. Because you read these things, it'll be like, okay, I heard this, I heard no. Yahweh said what he was doing. He said, I'm going to test them to see if they'll obey my command or not. And now let us understand what was he trying to teach in that command. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Give me Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse number 2.
And thou shalt remember all the way of Yahweh thy Elohim led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee.
To what?
To humble thee.
This is what our message is saying. In order to build one up, he has to be humbled. You got to be broken of your own way, your own statutes, your own righteousness, your own thoughts, because you don't know enough about everything to know enough about everything. You don't have the power to harness all of the power to do my will. So I have to humble you that you will depend on me to do what I want you to do. So he says, he led you these 40 years. Why? Because the first ones he was telling this to, the ones that murmured against Moses, they are dead. 605,000 of them are dead. These are the children that were 20 years old and under. These are the ones that's coming in, and it's like the same thing still goes. The same thing still goes.
The law still stands.
Absolutely. So he's saying, remember, because you were little. And those that grew up to be 20, 21, 25, 30, 35, 40, because it's 40 years. If you're 19 or 20 when they die, you got 40 years. So from 20 to be at 60. If you're 18, you can go 58. I'm just saying, add 40 years. They lived a long time, and people were dying by the thousands every year to get to be 605,000. One time I did the math, and that was a lot of people per day if you killed them every, one a day. But anyway, he humbled thee to do what?
He humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only, but by every that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahweh doth man live.
This is why he was doing this, you all. He wasn't taking them to the wilderness to die. He wasn't taking them to the wilderness to hurt them. He humbled you so I could start to elevate you. If you ever get to the place that you understand that man does not live by bread alone, you won't complain against him like that. You won't go and bow down to the wicked one. You won't bow down to the nations. You will not do those things because you understand that he can feed you. And so he humbled you and let you hunger. He fed you with manna that you didn't know. He gave you quail that you didn't know to make you know that if you just do my word, if you just hear my word, the benefit of being protected by me as King, eternal, immortal, invisible, that dwells in the light that's unapproachable is yours. And I can do it any way I want to do it for you. You think it's the bread that you were getting in Egypt. You think it was what you were enjoying in Egypt before you came to me that was sustaining you. And I'm humbling you to know that what you were doing that was outside of my will that brought you joy, that maybe gave you money or whatever you use for money, that gave you everything you wanted. I needed you to know I got it. It's got to be my way or no way. But again, we have problems. Let's go to Deuteronomy 29 and 2, so that we can see how Yahweh felt about how you all went through that test, how you all went through the training class that he had set up to humble you, to position you so that you could work justice in the land. You cannot execute justice and peace in the land if you don't do it my way. You cannot do that. If you can't do it, I say to build you up and put you in this position that you would even know how to judge. You won't even be able to do it. And the Passover sanctified you and set you apart for me to train you. What does he say in Deuteronomy 29 and 2?
And Moses called unto all Israel and said unto them, Ye have seen all that Yahweh did before your eyes in the land of Egypt unto Pharaoh, and unto all his servants, and unto all his land. The great temptations which thine eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles. Yet Yahweh hath not given you an heart to perceive, eyes to see, ears to hear, until this day.
Read it ESV. Let me see what it sounds like in ESV. 29. Start. You can start at
Verse 2.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Moses summoned all Israel and said to them, You have seen all that Yahweh did before your eyes in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh and to all his servants and to all
Let me
his
interject.
land.
You've seen him make it dark, so dark over there that they could feel it. You've seen that he brought flies on that land. You've seen or heard about what he did, not only with the frogs and the lice and fire and hell coming out of the sky, burning up his cattle, burning up his barley, burning up his wheat. You've seen how he turned the water into blood over there. You've seen how he made boils get all over them. You've also seen that he killed the firstborn and he killed Pharaoh. You have seen all of this that I've done. Now, when I bring you out of Egypt, why didn't you hear me? I did it for you. I did it for you because I'm going to make you my children. I'm going to give you an inheritance. I want to make you mine, but you don't get to run anything. I know how to rule. I made the world. I orchestrated the world. I know everything about everything. I know exactly what it takes to train you, to humble you, so that I can elevate you, that you will reflect me in the earth. You will obey my words. That's your power. To hear my words, that's your power. To do my words, that's my power. Because I will affix myself to you and I will make it happen like I want to. I will provide for you. I will sustain you. You've seen all that I did before your eyes in the Egypt and the Pharaoh and what I did to his servants. What did he say in verse 3? He gives what kind did he say?
The great trials that your eyes saw, the signs and those great wonders.
You've seen things that Tim didn't even mention. You've seen people. You heard the people, Pharaoh, get rid of them. We are destroyed. You've seen that they gave you gold and silver and everything. They gave you the reparation, the restitution, but all of the time that they kept you in there as slaves, you've seen that. But what does it say in verse 4?
But to this day, Yahweh has not given you a heart to understand, or eyes to see, or ears to hear.
And this is why when people talk about Easter, and they talking about the resurrection day, and they reduce the Passover to just one day like that. Or you're going to start doing Christmas and going to affix that to Messiah. Or you're going to celebrate the Day of the Dead. When you start doing these other celebrations, do you have eyes to see what Yahweh was doing when he gave his day? And he gave his days of appointment for you to look and to commemorate and think about what he's done. You don't have eyes to see. This was something that was supposed to be thought about every year. But you think about Mother's Day every year. Yeah, you do. You jump in line like they tell you to. You jump in line like they tell you to do. Valentine's Day, Easter, you call it Harvest Day. But do you not have eyes to see that we say that Christ is our Passover now? Since he's our Passover now, what are we to do as we go through the wilderness of life, as we sojourn in the wilderness of life? What do we do? Are we going to conquer for Yahweh? Are we an army? Or are we just people to get together and Jesus, Yahshua? What do we do? According to Ephesians chapter 2 and 8, when it says, for by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourself, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus unto good works, which God has foreordained that we should do. He has foreordained that we should live in them. We're supposed to be doing his will. They didn't see it, and these were the descendants. Now, we talked about these things, and what did happen to Jesus? He taught them, and as Jesus went through the wilderness, I'm not even going to look it up. The Bible said this, the Satan came to him to tempt him, or the devil, the adversary. Said, if you be the Son of God, turn these stones to bread. What did he do? He alluded back to the very time he was taking Israel through the training, when he was getting them to humble them. He said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. He came to him when he was hungry. Why don't you complain against God? Or why don't you go against his will? In other words, why don't you stop going by every word that God say, and why don't you make some bread? But Messiah says, I live by his word. Is that what we are? Let's go to the 18th chapter, please, and let's see that the Most High God. Go ahead, you have something you want to ask me to say? 18th chapter, the 15th verse of Exodus. I'm sorry. Because I said that he's training. I said he was putting them in school. I want you to look at what he says in 15th verse, 18th chapter. Let me show you that the war was not only to wrought or to work righteousness in the earth with them, but also against the nation so that they could have his inheritance. ESV, what do ESV?
And Moses said to his father-in-law, because the people come to me to inquire of God, and they have a dispute, they come to me, and I decide between one person and another, and I make them know the statutes of Yahweh and his laws.
I think I messed up.
Okay.
I think we need to go back to verse 13. Or let's go to 12 so people can see that there was a gathering together of Moses and Aaron and Moses' father-in-law. He was a priest of Midian. He's a descendant of Abraham too. Please read it now.
Verse 12 or 13.
Do 12. So you're real good at reading for me.
And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to Yahweh. And Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat bread with Moses, father-in-law, before Yahweh.
Okay, read it.
The next day, Moses sat to judge the people.
This is what I want us to see. Moses sat there as a leader. Moses sat there as an adult. Moses sat there as one that is able to lead a nation that's going to get an inheritance. How many of us right now, if God was to give we black people 4 states, how many of us, if they selected us, would be able to do the judgment that God wants done for our people as well as the nations? Are we children when it comes to judgment? Are we children when it comes to be able to lead for ourselves? That's what's written in a lot of the books when it talks about the Confederacy, when it talks about the different one with the abolitionists, when it talks to different people when they had the churches here in the 17 and 1800s, when the slaves are unable to rule themselves. They said, we black people are unable to rule. Now, I submit to you that God had an adult there, and he's able to judge. How you going to have a nation without laws and judgment? Do you want to take the laws that we have today, and if we were in charge of ourselves, and use those and lock ourselves up for an exorbitant amount of time that allow us to be raped, that allow different privileges to be to different people, but whoever's in control or whoever got the most money, that's not justice and peace in the earth. This is not what y'all wanted. And so look at what she just read in the 13th verse again. Read it one more time, precious love.
The next day, Moses said to judge the people, and the people stood around Moses from morning to evening.
Mm-hmm.
When Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he said, "What is this that you are doing for the people? Why do you sit alone? And all the people stand around you from morning to evening."
We got so many problems in the neighborhood that we got to have court all day long. Read, please.
And Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to inquire of Yahweh."
This is the thing. We don't even inquire many times of the Most High God to make judgment. We just make judgment based on what already is by the same system that locked us up, raped us, enslaved us, give us extraordinary taxes, give us a Christianity that say we don't even have to obey God anymore. And if we leave our wives, we still safe. If we leave our husbands, we're still safe because we pray the sinner's prayer. Where is justice and peace on the earth? When the Bible says when the Messiah was born, peace on earth and goodwill to all men. Why shouldn't a wife get goodwill, or a husband get goodwill, or a child get goodwill, or your doggone community? What is the judgment? They came to inquire of Yah, not the Egyptian law. God was breaking them away from the Egyptians' law and statutes that would kill their babies, drown them in the water, beat them, make them build their cities without pay, and would make them make brick without straw. I'm divorcing you from the law. I'm divorcing you from the law of Egypt, from their standards in Egypt to give you mine. When do we want to grow up and have Yah's? Who's got a greater and righteous law more than his? Deuteronomy chapter 4 says the nations would come to us when we learn his law. Read some more, precious love. And you got a thought you want to interject right there, you can go ahead. Verse 16.
Okay, and I want to start at 15.
Go ahead.
And Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to inquire of Yahweh, when they have a dispute, they come to me, and I decide between one person and another."
And we think this is Old Testament, don't we? Matthew chapter 18 says you got to ought against your brother, you go before him and him alone. And if you can get it right, get it right. That's why we need to know his law. He said, don't hear him, take 2 or 3 more that's supposed to know God's righteous law. And if you hear them, you gain your brother. If not, tell the whole assembly. We think that he set that up for them and we're not supposed to have it, but we're children. And Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, dare one of you to have a matter against one another, go before the law, before the unjust. That's like just going back to Egypt to settle our situation, and not before the saints. Don't you know the saints will judge the world? Israel was to judge the world. They failed. And look at us. Please go back and read it again. 16.
When they have a dispute, they come to me, and I decide between one person and another, and I make them know the statutes of Yahweh and his law.
Oh, wait a minute. Jethro, it ain't my wisdom.
It's
not my wisdom. Jethro, all I got to do is make them know what Yah said, and that's the decision that we want to rock with. Read some more.
Moses' father-in-law said to him, "What you are doing is not good. You and the people with you will certainly wear yourselves out, for the thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it alone."
Let me tell you something. Judgment is heavy. To see people doing stuff to one another. To see people stealing from one another. To see people slandering one another. To see people taking somebody's property. To see somebody burn something in their yard and burn up somebody else and don't want to take care of it. The women that crying out, they've been raped. Judgment is hard, but for you to have to do it all by yourself. because they don't know what God's laws and statutes are. This is your training. You don't know, and you got to come to Moses all day long because you don't know his law. You still know the laws the way you came from. Please read.
Now, obey my voice. Hearken. I will give you advice, and Yahweh be with you.
Mm-hmm.
You shall represent the people before Yahweh and bring their cases to Yahweh. And you shall warn them about the statutes and the laws and make them know the way in which they must walk and what they must do.
Please, if you don't grasp anything and hold it, get you a mental hook and hook this in. The Most High God didn't want you to have to pay to get justice. The Most High God didn't want you dependent on somebody that got law books. The Most High God wanted you to know his laws so that you know what justice is, so that you would know how to make peace in the earth, so that you would be able to go out into the world and execute his righteous judgment in the land so that people wherever you go would be hearing the voice of God. But what we say is, no, we're not under the law, but we're under grace. He says, you will warn them about what my statutes and law before they're ever written, they exist. My statutes and my Torah, and make them know the way. Make them know my way of what is just. Yes. Make them grow up in the way they must walk. But people say, well, we're under the law. They weren't under what you would call the law of the tables of stone. They were under the same law that Abraham was under, the voice of Yah. And I'm telling you now, that just because it was written on stone does not mean it's not the voice of Yah. He said he's going to write it in our hearts and in our mind. And if you read Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1, it says, God, who in sundry times and in divers manner in time past spake to the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken to us by his Son, whom he has appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the world, who being the brightness of his coming or his glory and the express image of his person, when he had by himself purged us from our sin, sat down on the right hand of the majesty and high. He said he was made better than angels. What I need you to understand about that, he says in the last days, he's still speaking. He's still speaking. He has spoken by his Son. We still have his word. His word is still able to write on our hearts. The words that he speaks, John 6:63, are spirit and they are truth. How dare we say we don't have a law when God is speaking and he's given us his word and his spirit is truth. And he says, back in Moses' day, I want them to hear your statutes and laws and make them know the way in which they must walk and what they must do. Before I finish my series on dealing with the Passover, I think what I'm going to have to do is just go through and show you some of the Sermon on the Mount and show you that he is explaining what's in God's Torah for us how to live. And we dismiss that. We're dismissing what the Most High Son wants us to hear. Please finish reading that. What we say how they must walk and do. Verse 21.
Verse 21. Moreover, look for able men from all the people, men who fear Yahweh.
Yes.
Who are trustworthy.
Yes.
And hate a bribe.
In other words, if you put a lot of tithe in the assembly, but I won't tell you the truth, if I can go and plea bargain and pay some money, if because of who I am and I can take a bribe because I can get favor, that's not Yah's justice. In order for you to bring justice and work justice in the land, look what you have to do. Able, you must know what he says. You got to take men that are able because they know what he says, who fear Yah instead of the faces of people who are trustworthy.
Men of truth.
Lord have mercy, read on.
Hating covetousness.
Yes.
And place such over them to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds and rulers of 50s and rulers of 10.
See, I'm taking you through this, and I'm showing you what I let you hear this conversation between Moses and his father-in-law, and now even the father-in-law is saying, take these men, teach these men how to do judgment in the family first. What does the Bible say in the New Testament? Judgment first must be in the house of The house of who? In the house of Yah God. It's got to be in the house of our Elohim. And if we don't have judgment first there, how are we going to judge the earth? He says, do it to chiefs of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. That will equip us to be able to rule the earth like he wants us to do. What does it say in verse 22?
And let them judge the people at all times. Every great matter they shall bring to you, but any small matter they shall decide themselves. So it will be easier for you, and they shall bear the burden with you.
I'm going to open up a little, another Bible over here on the left-hand side, and I'm going to read something. Look at, I just want you to see the parallel. 1 Corinthians 6:1. Paul tells these people, dare any of you having a matter against one another, I quoted before, go to law before the unjust and not the saints. Do you not, will you bring me a water when you come back in? Do you not know that the saints will judge the world? Those people that were following y'all then, they were the saints. They were the one that was set apart. They the ones that are sanctified. They were the one that were holy. And the word, thank you, precious love. Saint is sanctified ones, okay? Do you not know that the saints will judge the world? And if the world shall be judged, and the world shall be judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matter? Now look how sad this is. Look at what Jethro is telling Moses. And let them judge all the people. We've dealt with thousands, fifties, and tens. Every great matter, and bring it to you, Moses. But any small matter, they shall decide themselves, so it should be easy for you. In other words, they should be able to grow up enough to handle some issues. You shouldn't have to run the court with one another all of the time. And he says, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Know you not that we will judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? But people tell us we're not supposed to judge. Here it is, we see that the people before the death, burial, resurrection, and ascension of Messiah, they're judging. And here the New Testament is telling us we're supposed to be able to do the same thing. We got to grow up, saints. We got to grow up. He said, if you have judgments of things pertaining to this life, set them to judge who are least esteemed in the assembly. The word here is ecclesia, not church. Then he says, I speak to your shame. Is it not so there a wise man? We're not talking about a child, a wise man amongst you. No, not one that shall be able to judge between his brethren. But you go to law, that with your brother and that before the unbelievers. That's the same way when they selling you on all of this stuff that you got a mental problem and God say you're a drunkard. God say you're a whoremonger. God say you're a thief, not a kleptomaniac. God say you are a drunkard, not an alcoholic. God say that you practice debauchery, and we say you're a sexual addict. Since when do we allow somebody to take God's word, redefine it with a narrative, and tell you that your problem is just what you think? Understand that sicknesses don't burn in hell? Do you understand that God is dealing with us because we have dismissed his word and took Sigmund Freud's, Abraham Maslow, Carl Jung's word and made it equal to God's word by people that started that kind of teaching and that kind of what they call science that hated God's word and hated we black people. They believed that we were in miscegenation. If they lay with us, that we would be a beast and that we could never be able to rule ourselves. We better get our mind right. We done left the Most High word and we go and let them be the priest of the earth now. We're giving up our priesthood to the psychologists. You go to school and you want to tell me, Tim, you hate psychology. Tim, you don't know what you're talking about. So right here, this is opening up. It's just opening up right here, my library. Let me put in this word, COUNSELL, counsel, okay? Counsel. These are the results. I have journals dealing with counseling. Let me put an ing on it, make it a little more. Counseling. I want you to just be able to see, I'm not just picking on stuff. I got focus on counseling. Jay Adams, the competent to counsel, Christian counseling. I have videos, psychology, discipleship, counseling, pastoral counseling, others. I got encyclopedia of counseling, monographs on counseling, journals on counseling. And if I slide down, do you see I have stuff on counseling, but nothing ever overrides the word of God. I even got stuff on psychology. But I'm not going to let that override God's word, then I might as well get rid of my Bible. Now, one of these guys in here, this guy here named Jay Adams, he does what is called New Ethic Studies. And all of his counseling is biblical based that I've ever seen. He's not going to counsel you and not take you to the word. But if you're going to take me to something and it's going to be away from God's word, which is my absolute presupposition of righteousness, I'm not with you. I'm just going to tell you, as my late cousin Felton Tabor said, like I'm going to tell you like a man. Again, verse 22, where Ann was in Exodus 18, and let them judge the people at all times. Every great matter they shall bring to you, but any small matter they shall decide for themselves. So it shall be easy for you, and they will bear the burden with you. If you do this, Elohim will direct you, and you will be able to endure, and all this people also will go to their place in peace. So Moses listened to the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he said. Moses chose able men out of all of Israel and made them heads of the people, the chiefs of thousands, hundreds, and the fifties and tens, and they judged the people at all times. Any hard case they brought to Moses, but any small matter they decided themselves. And Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way to his own country. Do you understand that whether or not you see what's going on, he's training the people to be able to be a self-ruling government. He's training the people not just to have to depend on one person. Where in America, they don't want you to know all the laws. You have to go pay somebody. And instead of being able to say, I'm not guilty, and we deal with that, and you show the facts, you go get a lawyer. You pay the lawyer. You go through a procedure. You knew such and such. And if you're not guilty, then we don't have witnesses against you where we think you're guilty for circumstantial evidence. And if you go ahead and plead, instead of us giving you 10 years, we'll give you maybe 2. Yeah, I have books on that too about plea bargaining. But notice, Moses was training the people to execute justice and peace. We're getting ready to end up now. But I need you to understand that training is not to understand. It's not just to understand justice and peace. There's one thing to understand it. It's another one to do the work. Let me explain. When Ann first started reading this, I'm going to go back to where it was. I think it's Jethro. Let's see. Was it 12 that we started with? 18 and 12?
18.
Here it is, 13. Notice what it says. The next day Moses sat to judge the people. Look at Matthew 23 and 1. I want you to understand when they tell you that what is called the Old Testament is not relevant, you're not getting it because you're not reading it many times yourself, and your leaders are not teaching you. They think it doesn't matter. What did the Most High Son say about this? He says, then spake Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. They do judgment. They are doing judgment. They are ruling your nation. He says, and therefore, whatsoever they bid you observe, and that observe and do. These people, they really, really many times know what the Most High words say, and for you to do that. When they're in Moses' seat, and they're going by what Moses say. But notice this, here's the sad thing. But do not after their works. For they say and do not. This is
Let's read ESV.
Okay, please do.
The scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. So do and observe whatever they tell you, but not the works they do. For they preach.
Yes.
For they preach.
Yes.
But do not practice.
Yes. He said they bind heavy burdens, grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. In other words, we'll tell you what to do and we'll bind you, and sometimes we'll even add some more stuff to it, but we won't obey God's law. We won't move with one of our fingers, but all their works they do to be seen of men. We could talk, we could tell you, they make broad their phylacteries and things that have God's law on it. He says, but they love to be seen. I didn't come to teach that. I just needed you to see Moses' seat. Do you know there's a judgment seat of Christ, and we act like none of us is worthy to judge like the Most High Son tell us to do? Why is that? We've listened to the wrong people. The training to go out into the world to bring about justice and peace is not just for us to know it. It's for us to do it. So I can pick up on this because I want to deal with the wilderness rewards and what sojourning is. We have our wilderness. We have our things that we go through. And because of the fact we don't know the judge, Jesus said, judge not according to appearance, John 7:24, but judge righteous judgment. Jesus taught the judge, don't go and find fault with somebody. He said, judge not that you be not judged, for what judgment you judge, you shall be judged. Why do you behold the small part in your brother's eye and not consider the beam in your own? He said, you're a hypocrite. First, cast the beam out of your own eye. Then you'll see clearly how to cast the mote out of your brother's eye. I'm teaching you how to judge righteously. Don't judge hypocritically. You're doing the same thing and you're going to condemn somebody else. And then he says, in the 15th verse, Matthew 7, beware of false prophets. Do you know I can go on Facebook and YouTube and all this, and I can find so many apostles. There's so many apostles, so many prophets, so many evangelists, and so many teachers. But I guarantee you, when I used to go and talk to people and ask them if God gave us just four states to rule, what would be the penalty if somebody raped a woman?
How would we rule?
How would we rule? I asked, what would be the penalty if somebody broke into Miss Johnson's house and stole $200 and did $300 worth of damage to the house? And they say, lock them up. Why do we not know what God say is fair, righteous? I hear people talk about, we need reparations. Where do you get that in the Bible? You have some say, just forget it, let it go. How do we determine what is right and wrong? The Passover sanctified us to put us in a position that we would learn how Yahweh wanted us to judge. He allowed Moses to judge. He allowed Jethro to teach him. Why don't you get some people to help you? We'll find in different books, we may not go through it, but God took his spirit off of him and gave it to everybody. But then he came down and gave everybody his law. Why? I need you to be able to know if the big man is wrong, the little man is wrong, that you all could judge between yourself and not everybody have to come and have a court case. Yes, we don't want justice. Let me give you a case in point. I did some work for a woman one day and her water was on in the winter. I used her water. I didn't turn it on. When her pipe froze, remember this? She said, I did it. And because she lied, I went on and paid. I didn't want the hassle. Then after I paid, and I said, but I still didn't do so. I know, but I just needed paid. Had we had a righteous government, a righteous standard, not only would she have to pay me back, she'd have to add a fifth to it. Now it would be incumbent upon me to forgive because she has brought forth her fruit, meet for repentance. We have stuff that happen to children. They cry out, nobody here. They lock up the pedophile for a month, or maybe lock them up for a little while. And with good behavior or plea bargaining, they get out and they have to register as a sex offender. The Most High God said, when you rape somebody, that's the same as that as if you've taken the person's life, especially if they cry out. He said, put them to death. We don't know because we have dismissed ourselves from God's righteous standard of justice, and we've determined that justice is what we say based upon the moment of whatever political group has gotten money from the backers of that political group so they could get in office. do we want to do righteousness? Do we want to have the inheritance of the land? Do we want God's inheritance? Because if we want God's inheritance, what are we going to do with it? We don't even get justice many times in our assemblies. This is serious business. This is not about being children. But if you want for the next 500 years for the same people to rule us that have ruled us before and have locked us up before, they had the Negro Project and put Planned Parenthood in our neighborhoods and experiment with us with different kind of drugs, plutonium, etc. And you want to complain. You want to complain when they lock us up and say that it's wrong. Why is it wrong? Why shouldn't they do that? Why shouldn't they still enslave us? Why shouldn't they still lock us up longer than somebody else? Why shouldn't they let somebody go shoot up your church and then get them a sandwich? Why? If you want to tell me it's going to be based on the law and we got a legal system that already was set up not to benefit you in it, that you were 3/5 of a person, that you didn't have a Bill of Rights, that you could even carry a weapon, and that your presidents, your first few presidents had you enslaved and they could have sex with you and do everything to you that they wanted to do. If you want to say that is wrong because the law said that law changes, but God's eternal law never changes. You'll never be able to rule as long as you got a nanny state ruling over you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop right here and see if my wife want to discuss something with me. I do want to show you one thing. So when I say this, it doesn't seem stupid to you. I'm putting here 1790, and then I'm going to put in here naturalization. Act. Well, it came up on this song. Just look at this 1790 naturalization, and this is the act. What did it do? Let's see if I can pull it up this way. The other time I pull it up a different way. Here's the Naturalization Act, and let me make it big so you can see it, okay? I didn't get bigger that way. I did the plus and why did it not get bigger? When I do a minus, it's getting bigger. Okay, I don't like that. I don't think I can show it to you like I want to. So let me pull another one in. Let me do escape, because it's a lot of them in here. I just like the one that was the paper that showed what it looked like. Let's see here. Let's see if we can tell the truth. The Naturalization Act of 1790, it says Congress set the first uniform rules of granting of the United States citizenship by naturalization. The law limited naturalization to free white persons of good character, thus excluding Native Americans, indentured servants, slaves, and free black people, and later Asians. Although free black people were allowed citizenship at the state level in a number of states, the act was modeled after the Plantation Act of 1740. Now, if this is the 1790 Slave Act, naturalization, please understand, if the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence was written in 1776, we weren't included. And we want to follow those laws, the laws that really showed that we were really nothing. How dare we not trust the Most High? They want to build us up a nation. It calls us to be a people that have inheritance. That's it. I really have no more that I want to say on it, but we better grow up. You know, a tree by its fruit. If I get this piece of equipment, for the Lord give me this piece of equipment this week, I'll be able to show you probably 200 things, laws like the Casual Killing Act. Kill one of them, it don't matter. They're not even human. As a matter of fact, people get threatened that they could be put to death for having sex with a black woman. They call it bestiality. And then we were going to get killed if you had sex with a white woman. They would call it miscegenation. I'm telling you, when we learn the Most High's laws, we're going to long for a day that we can be at least like what they call the Indians. They can have their own land and their own laws. Are we ready? Are we ready to rule? Are we ready to honor the Most High? Andrew, do you have any comments, precious love?
Yes, sir.
I want us to grow up. I want people to respect us as men. I want people to be able to see that we follow the teachings and the rules and the laws of the Most High God. And if we get locked up for it, so what? If we get killed for it, so what?
Well, as long as we operate in our own community
Yes.
in that way, and we do that amongst ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we govern ourselves, and we have churches on every corner, that why shouldn't we be able to do it? But at this point in time, you have churches fighting against any law that comes out of the Bible. And it's just to save Jesus, and what does that mean?
What did that Muslim guy say to me?
He said, I don't like Christianity, because you can say the Jesus and do whatever you want to do.
Yes.
And so if we don't learn how to govern ourselves according to the law that he's given us, we'll never be a nation. That's why we're not a nation now, because we chose not to follow him. When we were brought out of Egypt, he purged us. When you talked about the wilderness, he purged us from Egyptian rule. That was the wilderness journey. He purged us from them. We sat by the flesh pots. You sat by the meat pots because you had to get straw and to make brick. And before they provided it, but they said you got to get your own now. And you sat by flesh pots and you glamorize the past. And we do this, even as just regular people
Mm-hmm.
in the United States. We glamorize our past when we see something that he's calling us to do even more, to purge ourselves even more from this environment. And they said, well, we sat by the flesh pots where they told you had to get straw without their help to make this brick.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, they were murdering your firstborn, your boys, all of your boy children. They were murdering them. And somehow you got out here and felt a little stressed. You felt a little, I don't know, you felt more there. And you thought that, well, at least I had something to eat. And
that's called in Latin reductio ad absurdum. You reduced it down to something so absurd.
It's so absurd that you would say you had it better. And then I think about what's happening with us in this nation, and they're promoting, they say, well, the narrative is this, that, oh, what are Black women going to do because they're going to outlaw abortions? Oh, what are they going to do? Is this not the Egyptian thing that they did?
Yes.
And you still saying, I'd rather be in Egypt, and they murder my firstborn children, my boys, all of my boy children. And they're planning to take my girl children and rape them and put them on part of a harem.
Yes.
They don't mean to make them anything in the earth. They
What
meant
do you
them
call
to
them? You
serve
call
a
them bed
will.
what?
Bed wenches. And these are the things that we don't realize that's happening to us. And we think that, well, this is the argument. If we would just do right, and we would just, that's true. But you were placed in a system that everything they have designed and constructed around you,
yes,
will make you do wrong.
Say it.
They want to make you do wrong. The liquor stores on every one of your corners. The abortion clinics most abortion clinics are in your neighborhood. They put your Black face up and say, well, what are we gonna do? What about abortion rights? And then you talking about killing another human.
Yes, a Black one, for sure. And here's the thing. The churches that say they don't believe in law, Go in there and read and see, don't they have bylaws? It's just amazing. They will
Yes.
have bylaws, they will have structure, and they will have their own way that they deal with certain things. And God knows the biggest church in the world, they not only have bylaws, they have laws. They have a standing army, Catholic Church. They actually had people on ships that come in and survey the land and let them know what the land was like before they went and took it. In other words, they plunder, they would rape, they would kill, and they would enforce their law. Don't tell me they wouldn't, because they had all of these people that came. You had Constantine and the the people that came after them, and they were so big in law, they separated from the east from the west. And I'm gonna just stop with this
Yes,
and just really let us understand that the Most High God, He's taken us through these things. He took them through those things to humble us. That we would humble ourselves to Yahweh so that we could learn how to work justice in the earth, but we had to be taught first. We had to see the need for it. We had to get away from the other one to be taught.
Let me say this.
Please do.
I think it's Deuteronomy 18. Most of us think it's about, well, if it's a thing that I'm not worshiping, if I'm not praising the Easter egg, if I'm not honoring and worshiping the Easter egg, then it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something that he said in Deuteronomy 18, and he talks about, do not after their abominable customs. They make you unclean. There's a custom that you do. There is something that you can say, that doesn't really have anything to do with God. I ain't worshiping it. I ain't worshiping an egg. I'm not worshiping the tree. Why can't I do it? But because it's a custom, and it draws you away from doing his moedim. It draws you away from keeping his rehearsals, from remembering him.
Let me read this. And we will be getting into this, the Lord's will, on Tuesday. Leviticus 18 and 25.
I see Deuteronomy.
You did, but it's okay.
I'm sorry, I read Leviticus 18.
I got a computer and I thought it was. I just ticked up on me.
My
You
bad.
shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments. Same thing Moses was saying. You shall not commit any of these abominations, neither you or any of your nations, nor the stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew not you out also when you defile it, as it spewed out the nations before you. For whomsoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them shall be. Oh, I didn't know that. I stopped it from sharing. Let me pull it back up. Glad you look. Share screen. I'm glad I hadn't got to verse 30 yet.
Okay.
Let me go back to 29. It says, for whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the soul that committed them shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore, out of all of this being said, no matter what the abomination is above, the therefore is telling you what my conclusion is. You shall keep mine ordinance. You shall keep my requirement that ye commit not any one of these abominable customs which they committed before you, and defile yourselves. And defile ye not yourselves therein. I am Yahweh your Elohim. And that Miss Marie, we talked about that when Abraham kept his choice. He kept his voice. He kept his word.
And we think this, and we'll talk about, but if I don't worship this, and that, so I'm not really worshiping. What you're doing is you're keeping a custom that keeps in place a system of bondage, and it's inherent. They put it in place so they would know that they still have you in bondage because you're still agreeing to it.
That's right.
You're still submitting to it. You're still giving your money to it.
The word is hukah, the same word when God talks about his requirements. He said, you don't do their abominable hookah. Okay? What is hookah? Their due, their statutes, their law, their prescriptions,
Yes.
and it talks about something that carves and inscribes. So we're inscribing that in you by getting you to do it over and over again.
Yes.
But when Yahweh has one, we
We're
don't
not
do
doing that.
that.
We ain't under law. You
I
under
remember,
some
I remember I
law.
used to argue with you about that, and you used to say, and you say, wait a minute, how is the people can do theirs? Say I ain't talking about for salvation, but how can you remember everybody else's, but his can't be remembered? I didn't have no argument that would stand. None.
This is the evil that we do, and this is the thing that keep us in bondage. And so we can plead the blood all day and night. But if we still got Easter bonnets and Easter eggs and Christmas trees, you're still in bondage. The blood means nothing to you. I don't care how much you plead it.
Let me tell you something. They had a rabbit god in Egypt. They had an egg god in Egypt. They had all kind of gods. Imagine they standing before Moses. They did it one time with a calf, but they worshiped it. But suppose they just had little calves around that they wore, or that every now and then they would put up the rabbit god, or they put up the egg god, or the dog head god that had a man's body. Do you think that Yahweh said, you're not worshiping? We just like the way it looked. It looked so attractive. Well, everybody else got one other nations, but we're not going to worship it. You think that Yah most times say, it's all right. It's okay.
We don't understand the spell we're under. And we don't want to listen because we're entrenched in it. It's I can't move from it because what about my children? What about my mama? What about my grandmother? And we don't want to move from it. Where's the blood when in that? Why does the blood not free you from that bondage?
I don't know.
It's absurd to me.
It's absurd to
And
God too.
I really don't mean to be offensive. I love my brothers and sisters. But we have to wake up. We have to wake up to what we're doing, and that these rituals, we don't see them as rituals. Customs are rituals. And there were things he said, you're going to start doing these things, and I'm going to be against you the way that I'm against them. You got to get rid of it. And the first step is to get rid of it in yourselves.
Yes. I just opened up about 22 dictionaries, and every one of them saying the same thing. Do statutes as authoritative rule, regulations share a custom, something prescribed or an enactment, theological dictionary of the Old Testament. And so, because I'm just saying, if somebody looking on the screen, if it doesn't say anything, because there's so much that you have to look, but it just lets you know in the Hebrew, or what they call Jewish Aramaic, something to hollow out or engrave. In other words, this is something that is like it's engraved in you, or it means to be in order. So many things that they've given us. They gave us the hollow out and engrave as a great day, Columbus Day. It's like a slap in your face.
It makes me sad because my thing was, I always like, what is this thing that, why is it a big deal for you to convert? And it's like, Donnie, you read the Bible. You know conversion is everything. They converted the people in Egypt. So much so when they got out, they built a golden calf. Dummy, look at what happened in Babylon. They say, we mean to convert you. We got to change your eating habits, even down to your eating habits, your entertainment, your education. We need you to be compliable to this nation because we need you to be good servants.
That's what it say in Daniel 1 and 3. It said Daniel 1 and 3. It says, and the king spoke to Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring in certain of the children of Israel and of the king's seed and of the prince's children in whom were no blemish, well favored, skillful in wisdom and cunning in knowledge and understanding science, and had such ability to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach, the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. This is why I tell people speaking in the tongue was a sign of a curse, but they don't know because they thinking only about what they see in Acts 2. Speaking in a tongue of a different nation was something that was prescribed that would have to be done. And so what individuals don't see that, I don't really want to go into that deep, but it said, we don't want you to have to speak your own language. We're going to teach you our tongues. That way we can teach you our culture. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat.
I'm going to change your appetite.
And of his wine.
I'm going to change your appetite.
And what he drank.
I'm going to change your
nourishing
appetite.
them 3 years.
I'm going to change your appetite.
That they might stand before the king.
I'm going to be good. So I'm going to make good service to me.
Now among them were among the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
I'm going to take your name.
Whom the prince of the eunuch gave names to Daniel, the name Belteshazzar.
I will steal your name from you because your God is in your name. And I need you to forget. I need you to know that I conquered you. Our God conquered your God. And because that happened, everything has to change with you. And
Daniel's name was changed to Belteshazzar, which means Baal protect his life, the Lord's leader, preserve his life, Lord of the straitened treasure. And to Hananiah, changed his name to Shadrach, rejoicing in the way, a tender breast, soft, tender, decree of the moon god.
Ooh.
The breast was tender. He may have been a soft-looking man, okay? Not that he practiced softness.
He was pretty.
And then it says Shadrach, then to Mishael, he changed his name to Meshach, which means agile, expeditious, biting waters of quiet, who is what that are. In other words, you are like an adventurous person that has ability.
Well, I'm decreeing what you're going to be to me.
And Azariah, Abed-Nego. Some people say a bad Negro. No, it's worse than that. It's Abed-Nego. Abed-Nego, servant and worshiper of Nebo, servant of light, servant of splendor, the sun, the worshiper of Mercury, the servant of Jupiter. Is that what they almost was calling Paul?
They called him Jupiter. And they called
Barnabas
Mercury.
Yes.
But here is the biggest injustice we've done to them. We still call them by those names.
Yes.
And we know the names that the Most High God and his descendants gave to them. We will still call them by their names because we're steeped. We're so evil. We are evil. We are evil for that. When we have the word before us and it's telling us what was done to them, what was imposed upon them. I'm going to change the way you eat. I'm going to change what you drink. I'm going to change what you learn. I'm going to change your name. And we're going to honor that false name.
Yep. We know better.
And these are the same things that were done to us. Some of us, we do things in ignorance because our parents did things in ignorance, and we didn't come out of things in light. And so we got, Greek names for our children.
Timothy, Timeo, Theos.
And we got so many DeAndre and D something, and it's just, this is Greek. And by this, we should know who took us into captivity because we started understanding the names we took. And we gotta wake up. We gotta come out.
Nebuchadnezzar named Daniel Belteshazzar. Listen to Daniel, how he speaks of himself in Daniel 7:15. I, Daniel 8:15. And it came to pass when I, Daniel 8 and
I
27,
accepted.
and I, Daniel, fainted. Daniel 9 and 2, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by the books of the year. In other words, you call me Belteshazzar, but I, Daniel, God will judge. So we want to keep what he's given us and make a righteous judgment, or take the advantage of letting somebody else set up our standard? Most High is good. Andrina, I thank you for helping me.
Yes, sir.
The message is not exactly the same, but it's the same meat. I thank those for joining us that did, and those that will join us later. We really need to see how it is the Most High was trying to equip us and still wants to equip us to rule and to do righteous judgment. There is no righteous judgment without a righteous law. You give me a closing word, Andrina.
Hallelujah.
Bless the Most High, everlasting name, forever and ever. Good night, you all, for those that are listening with
Good
us.
night. Love you all.
We do love you.